You see it? Yeah, don't move. Just keep it down.
For decades, people claimed it was only a myth, a giant shadow wandering the deepest forests, a creature older than any legend, something the world wasn't ready to believe. But today, for the first time ever, we're not just telling the story, we're witnessing it. Right there, between the trees, something is moving. A massive silhouette steps forward, towering, breathing heavy. This is episode 1 of our Bigfoot series, and what you're about to see may be the closest any human has ever gotten to the creature. If you think Bigfoot is just a campfire tale, wait until you see what happens next. In the quiet forests of Alberta, Canada, where the wind moves like whispers between endless rows of pine, something happened that no one on that construction site will ever forget. At first, it was just an ordinary workday. Engines humming, metal clanking, dust rising in the sunlight. But then, one of the workers lifted his camera and captured something gigantic, moving far beyond the job site's boundary. At first, they thought it was a bear, then maybe a moose. But this thing was walking on 2 legs, tall, heavy, broad-shouldered, its stride calm, almost relaxed, like it knew exactly where it was going. Not hiding, not afraid, just walking, in broad daylight. The workers stood frozen. This creature was massive, easily over 7 feet tall. Dark fur catching the sunlight, long arms swinging with every step. And although the distance made details hard to see, one thing was clear. It didn't move like any animal they knew. It moved like something almost human. Clumps of snow shook off branches as it passed. Even from far away, the ground seemed to tremble with its weight. The strangest part? It didn't act aggressive. It didn't run. It didn't even look back. It just moved calmly between the trees, as if this massive creature had been walking there every day, long before humans ever arrived with trucks, drills, and construction plans. And then, just as quickly as it appeared, it stepped behind a thick wall of forest and vanished. No tracks found, no broken branches, no sign of where it went. Only the camera footage and the stunned silence of the workers who watched something they knew no one would ever believe. This wasn't nighttime. This wasn't a blurry shadow. This was the clearest daytime sighting Alberta has ever seen. A creature that looked exactly like Bigfoot, calmly walking through human territory, as if warning us that these forests still belong to them. But here's the question that still haunts the team on that site. If this creature wasn't afraid of humans, what happens the next time it walks even closer? Do you think this was a real Bigfoot? Or something even more powerful living in the forests of Canada? Next clip will completely shock you. Russia's frozen forests are already terrifying, silent, endless, and colder than anything most people will ever experience. But one winter night, a group of visitors celebrating a small party deep in the woods learned that this forest hides something far more frightening than the cold. While everyone was laughing, dancing, and enjoying the snowfall, one man wandered a little too far from the group and noticed something strange in the untouched snow. Huge footprints. Not human, not animal. These prints were massive, easily twice the size of his own boots, and sunk deep into the snow as if something extremely heavy had passed through. Curiosity got the best of him. He lifted his phone, hit record, and slowly followed the trail deeper into the forest. Every step he took, the wind grew quieter. The trees felt heavier, as if the forest itself was watching. Then he saw it. A towering white creature standing between the trees, 7, maybe 8 feet tall, covered in thick, snow-white fur that blended perfectly with the blizzard, its breath forming massive clouds in the frozen air. It didn't roar. It didn't run. It just stood there, staring, as if studying him. For a full second, neither of them moved, and that was enough. He turned and sprinted back toward the party, slipping, falling, scrambling through the snow as the creature's shadow disappeared behind the trees. He uploaded the footage online, and within hours, the video exploded across social media. Millions of people watched it, frame by frame, trying to understand if this was real or staged. But here's the part that made the world even more terrified. Scientists stepped in. They analyzed the video, the footprints, the movements, and their conclusion shocked everyone. We can't even fully explore the Amazon rainforest, so how can we be sure what lives in the frozen forests of Russia if the Amazon hides creatures we've never seen? What about the snow-covered wilderness where almost no humans ever go? And the scariest detail? Experts confirmed the creature's body size and movement didn't match any known animal in Russia. Whatever was in that video, it wasn't a bear, it wasn't a wolf, it wasn't anything we can explain. But that leaves us with one chilling question. If that Yeti was bold enough to walk near a human party, what happens the next time one of them decides not to just watch, but get closer? Do you think this was a real Yeti? Or is something even bigger hiding in Russia's endless snow? The Patterson-Gimlin footage is often called the most convincing Bigfoot video ever recorded, and even today, nobody has managed to debunk it. Back in 1967, deep inside the forests near Bluff Creek, Northern California, two men were out on horseback, exploring the rugged terrain. Roger Patterson had his 16mm camera with him, just casually shooting parts of their ride with his friend, Bob Gimlin. But then, everything changed. As they moved along the creek bed, a large, upright figure suddenly walked into view. Patterson jumped off his horse instantly, grabbing his camera and filming the creature as it moved between the towering trees. The footage came out shaky. He was running on rough ground. But what was captured changed the entire Bigfoot debate forever. Over the decades, experts and researchers have digitally enhanced and stabilized the old film, revealing details that were easy to miss before. Muscle movement, proportions, and that iconic turning head. But here's the part that still shocks people today. Shortly after the video was shot, the film was shown to professional special effects artists from major Hollywood studios, including Disney and Universal. And their verdict? With the technology available in the 1960s, creating a suit that realistic would have been nearly impossible. Even Hollywood couldn't recreate it. Now, more than 50 years later, no one has ever proven the footage fake. No one has come forward saying they were in a costume, and no filmmaker has been able to reproduce anything that looks even close to the original. The Patterson-Gimlin film remains one of the most mysterious, most debated, and most believable pieces of Bigfoot evidence ever recorded. Far away from the noise of cities, there's a small village surrounded by thick, endless forest. A peaceful place. Quiet, calm, almost untouched by time. But one night, something broke that silence. Something the villagers still refuse to talk about. This story begins with a man who lived alone at the forest's edge, with only his loyal dog to keep him company. It was past midnight when his dog suddenly started growling, low at first, then louder, then barking, like it sensed something dangerous. He tried calming it down, but the dog wouldn't stop. Its eyes locked toward the dark tree line behind the house, as if something was standing there, curious and a little worried. The man grabbed his flashlight and stepped outside. The forest looked normal, cold wind brushing through the branches, moonlight shining over the leaves. But something felt wrong. He walked slowly, shining his light between the trees, left, right, deeper. But he saw nothing. Yet the feeling of being watched grew stronger with every step. Leaves rustled. A branch cracked. Something big was out there, hiding, waiting, studying him. He whispered to himself, probably just a wolf or a boar. But he knew deep inside that wasn't true. After a few minutes, he returned home, locked the door, and tried to forget it. He even set up a small webcam facing the living room window, hoping to catch whatever was disturbing the dog. He had no idea that this single decision would reveal something terrifying. Hours passed. The dog finally fell asleep. The man relaxed, thinking it was all in his head. But in the forest, something was moving. Slow, heavy, cautious, walking toward the house. And at 3:17 a.m., the webcam recorded something no one was prepared for. Through the window, a massive shadow rose into view. At first, it seemed like a man. But then, the shape grew taller, broader, covered in hair. Long arms, deep chest, shoulders so wide they nearly filled the frame. It leaned closer to the window, and the webcam caught its face. A huge, ape-like creature with dark, sunken eyes, breathing fog on the cold glass, watching the sleeping man inside the house. For a full 3 seconds, it just stood there, blinking slowly, as if deciding something. Then, it stepped backward and vanished into the darkness. The next morning, when the man woke up, he checked the webcam footage. At first, he laughed, thinking it was a glitch. But when he watched it frame by frame, his blood froze. Outside his window were giant footprints in the dirt, 3 times bigger than a human's, deep, heavy, leading straight back into the forest. He called his neighbors, but none of them wanted to come. Everyone had heard stories before. Shadows in the trees, strange howls at night, but no one expected it to get this close. Word spread through the village, and people barricaded their doors. Children were kept inside. Farmers stopped working after sunset. This wasn't a wolf. This wasn't a bear. This was something else, something intelligent, something strong enough to walk silently through a forest, and brave enough to stand inches away from a human window. But here's the most disturbing part. For the next 3 nights, the dog kept barking at exactly the same time, 3:17 a.m., which means whatever visited that window might have come back. So the real question is, if this creature could walk right up to the window without being heard, what happens the next time it decides to come inside? Do you think this was a Bigfoot or something even scarier living in the village forests? California's forests are beautiful during the day, but when the sun goes down, they turn into something completely different. Dark, silent, endless, and one man found out the hard way that some things only come out at night. He wasn't a hunter or an explorer, just a regular guy who wanted to spend a quiet night under the stars. A simple camping trip that turned into something he still can't explain. Around midnight, he finally drifted off to sleep, but minutes later, he woke up to the sound of footsteps. Not small ones, not light. These were heavy, slow, deliberate. The kind of footsteps that make the ground vibrate just a little. His heart started racing. He knew the forest had mountain lions, bears, wolves, but this didn't sound like any of them. It almost sounded like something walking on 2 legs. He grabbed his phone, hit record, and slowly reached for his torch. He whispered to the camera, "I think something's circling me." The darkness around him looked endless. He pointed the torch left, nothing. Pointed it right, nothing. Just trees, shadows, and the sound of his own breathing. But the footsteps got louder, closer, almost like whatever it was waiting for him to look away. Leaves cracked behind him, twigs snapped, and his dog, who was usually fearless, hid behind him, trembling. Then, he turned the torch toward a thick group of trees, and something massive flashed across the screen. A tall, white figure covered in fur, standing upright like a human, but towering above any man he had ever seen. For a split second, the torchlight hit its face. Deep-set eyes, long arms, snow-colored fur that glowed in the light. And then it moved, not walking, not hiding. It ran, crashing through the forest with the speed of a wild animal, but the posture of a person. He gasped, whispering, "Did I just see a white Bigfoot?" The camera caught everything. The glowing eyes, the outline, the movement, all deep in the California wilderness. He didn't sleep again that night. He stayed awake until sunrise, gripping his torch, listening to every sound. But the creature never came back. The next morning, he returned to the same spot where he saw it and found giant footprints in the dirt. Long, wide, human-like, but far bigger than any human could ever make. He uploaded the footage online, and instantly it went viral. People started calling it the White Bigfoot of California, a creature rarely reported, almost mythical, and almost never captured on camera. The strangest part? Local hikers later claimed they had heard the same footsteps in the same area, but none of them had ever seen what was making those sounds. But now, we might have the first real glimpse. So, the real question is, if this white Bigfoot can appear this close to a sleeping camper, what happens when someone wakes up and it's standing only a few feet away? Do you think this creature is real, or is something even stranger living in the forests of California? Africa's forests are known for their wildlife, lions, hyenas, elephants. But there is one part of the forest tourists rarely visit, a place the locals warn people about, a place where, according to old stories, a creature walks when the world is asleep. And one night, a group of visitors walked straight into those stories. They came to enjoy a simple vacation, a fun night under the stars, a campfire, songs, food, laughter. Nothing dangerous, nothing unusual, just a peaceful evening in the middle of nature. But they had no idea they were not alone. The group set up 2 hidden cameras around their tents just for fun, to catch any wild animals wandering by. Around 2 a.m., the first camera recorded something. A tall shadow moving between the trees, slow, unsteady, almost curious. But the camera angle wasn't clear, just a large, dark figure passing by. They didn't notice it until morning. But 2 hours later, The second camera recorded something even stranger. The same figure, but closer. Big, wide shoulders, long arms, and a strange, heavy walk. No lion walks like that. No gorilla stands that tall. But none of the visitors knew because they were all asleep, all except one. An 18-year-old boy woke up suddenly. He didn't know why. The air felt heavier. The forest felt too quiet, unnaturally quiet. He sat up, listening. Nothing. No insects. No wind. Just silence. He grabbed his phone and stepped outside the tent. He whispered, "Is someone out here?" He wasn't expecting an answer. He was just recording the moment, something to remember from the trip. He had no idea his memory would become a nightmare watched by the entire world. He walked with his small flashlight, pointing it at the trees. Left, right, up, down. Still nothing. He walked deeper into the forest, looking for whatever had woken him. 10 minutes passed. 20 minutes passed. His breathing grew heavier. The forest felt wrong, like it was holding its breath. Then, he heard a sound behind him, a low rumble, a heavy exhale, a branch snapping under something enormous. He slowly turned, and that's when his life changed. Standing behind him was a creature bigger than any human, covered in thick brown and black fur, blending perfectly with the night. Its eyes, glowing red, stared directly at him, not with anger, not with hunger, but with curiosity. The boy froze. He whispered the only thing his mind could think of. "Oh my God, what are you?" The creature took one slow step forward. The ground shook slightly. Its breath was deep, like the rumble of a drum. Fear finally kicked in. The boy turned and ran. His camera shook violently as he sprinted through the forest. Branches whipped at his face. Leaves cracked under his feet. Behind him, he heard it following. Huge footsteps, crashing through the brush, fast, but not trying to attack. It wasn't roaring. It wasn't screaming. It was just following him. The boy stumbled, almost fell, then kept running until he finally saw the light of the campfire far ahead. He dashed toward the tents, yelling for help. As he got close, the footsteps behind him suddenly stopped. He turned the phone back toward the forest, but the creature had vanished. Not even a sound, not even a shadow, only the glowing red eyes, fading slowly deeper into the trees. When the group checked the footage in the morning, they were stunned. The cameras had recorded the creature twice. The boy's phone recorded it from only a few feet away. The creature didn't hurt him, didn't attack, didn't roar. It just watched him, followed him, and then disappeared. The boy said something that sent chills through everyone. "It wasn't trying to kill me. It was trying to understand me." His recording became viral overnight. Millions of people debated it. Experts said the creature's size and movement didn't match any known animal in Africa. Some called it a Bigfoot. Some called it a forest spirit. Others believed it was something undiscovered, something ancient. But one thing was certain. That memory wasn't his alone anymore. The world would never forget it. But here's the question that everyone is still afraid to ask. If this creature was brave enough to follow a human, what happens the next time one of these visitors decides to follow it? Is Africa hiding something much bigger in its forests? Or did this boy capture the first warning sign of something even more mysterious?